So hello,
Dang.
welcome to Red Lipstick Talk. And so we're just gonna give people a few minutes to kind of come on. It's gonna be coming on. But while people are coming on, check out our beautiful red lips. Look at us ladies with our red lips. Nefertiti, I don't see your red lips. Show your red lips. Fuck her up. I got on a different
Let me
color
get
than I did
closer.
last.
Ooh.
So, so we'll give people a couple of minutes to come on. And I'm excited to have Jamila here joining us. And
Yay.
this is Nefertiti and I second time doing this Red Lipstick Talk. So
Yes.
while we're waiting,
I'm really honored to be here. I can't see what we get into tonight. I didn't get a chance to prep for it. So everything tonight's going to be raw.
oh yeah, it's gonna be raw.
Raw.
I love it. Organic and raw. That's the best. That's when you just never know what's gonna happen. It's gonna come out what we're gonna say. So, all right. Well, I'll just go ahead and get started and introduce myself. We don't have anyone on yet, but people will be coming on, and the good thing is people can watch this later. So, those of you who don't know me, my name is Renee, and I also go by Prandata Prim. But I'm a psychotherapist, and later I became a international sex and relationship coach and tantric therapist. So now I mostly work with tantra and sacred sexuality. And I think like what 3 years ago I came out of the closet with my work with sexuality.
Hey
Because I was
now.
finally like, all right, get out this closet. And my family was like, what you doing? Body? What? Really did. And so, but that was one of the best things that I could ever do was to really just kind of start doing my thing and working with what I love. And so it's just been my heart, my passion ever since I got into this in 2000, really like 2013. So I'm just excited. So you guys want to introduce yourself too, and then we'll go in and start talking. We're going to talk a little bit about what's been good for us, what's good that kind of came out, and then what's been a challenge, as well as getting into the relationship. But let me have you guys introduce yourself first, and then we can go into that.
Okay. So I'm Nefertiti. I am from the Bay Area. Hey, Bay Area.
Hey.
And I live in another Bay Area. I live in Bahia, in Salvador, which is in Brazil. And I've been living here for 7 years. I am an artist. I work with the body, with performance, with dance, with percussion. I'm a percussionist, the voice, and different mediums as they come up, a lot of collaboration. And I'm interested in doing work that gives us a sense of collective liberation, individual deconstruction of colonial thinking, building sisterhood. I am indigenous and Black heritage. My family's from Guatemala, and I am queer. I have been out for a while. I didn't even remember when I came out. Now I'm so old, but that's important for in terms of thinking about my framework of how I think about things. I'm a feminist and multi-layered in terms of what that means, or how we think about our work, how we think about our relationships. And I run a cultural space here in Salvador with my collective Desde Nichis. It's an independent cultural space that is given the pandemic, and we are currently figuring out how we sustain ourselves during this time. But yes, it was a space that was primarily for women and women identified folks, there's a very little platforms for women artists to be showcased here. And so I really have that commitment to making sure that women's voices are heard. Women speak for themselves, show their art, show that they're badass. And yeah, that's it.
Yes. Show that they're badasses. Yes.
Yes.
So we got 3 badass women here.
Yes,
Yeah.
come on for the badass one time. So, hey y'all,
And I
hey,
only wear
I
lipstick for this
am
show.
Jameelah Offset. Can you
Oh,
hear?
yeah, I
Yes.
think.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I cut out? Okay. So I am Jameelah Offset. I am the growth goddess. I am a self-love specialist. I
Ooh.
am the whole entire sun. Sometimes I'm the moon. I'm a goddess queen. And I'm a mom of 4, which a lot of people don't
Wow.
know. Like I'm a super mom, like super mom. And I am in Atlanta. So I've been here all my life. And I know my ladies, I think on the screencast it's gonna show them on my right and my left. So I know they're both in Brazil, but I'm here in the US. But not for long because I got my exit strategy and I got my evacuation plan as well.
Yes.
Most of you watching who already know me know that I'm Trinidadian, so I usually spend 4 to 6 months in Trinidad and then the other time in Atlanta. I'm looking for my permanent home, so I'm already tracked to go to Africa this year, and I'm so excited about that because I'm trying to go ahead and just retrace my energy and see what really resonates with me and what I connect to. So just in case I got to build a whole compound and say,
Right.
girl, I can hold it down and welcome everybody who's going to be evacuating with me. So a lot of what I do is really just working with modern women. I am a sage, I am a teacher, I am a guide for the modern woman. So many of us know that there is this magical element in who we are, but don't always know how to get all the dirt off the top and really be able to reach down and get that gem. So I teach and I guide and I activate and I provide a lot of guidance to get to that inner goodness, that inner goddess, that magic, that juicy stuff. So I'm really happy to be here with you ladies today.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say, but you all won't know. I don't know if I need to introduce myself as polyamorous, but I am polyamorous. I have 2 partners. I am partnered with a male and a female, so she and he. And my male partner and I have been partnered for over 10 years. And my girlfriend and I have been partnered for about 4 years. So it's been a great experience for me. It's taught me a lot. And I'm so happy to share what I've learned from my experiences with all of you today.
I can't wait. So listen, I definitely need to learn. I'm definitely gonna be with ears out, ears open, eyes open, all of my senses open. So really quick, those who are coming on, please say hello. Please make and let us know that you hear us, that you see us. Because I can't see who's coming on. I just see numbers. So please write a hello, do a shout out, let us know that you're here. We really want this to be interactive as well. So if you have any questions, any comments, if you want about what you've been going through during this quarantine in your relationships, please write and we'll respond to that. I'll read the messages because the ladies can't see, but I'll read them and we can answer those questions. So please, I see people coming on. Just say hello, say something so we can know you're here, who's here, and what you have to say. So we do want to start off with saying something positive that's happened this week and a challenge. So when Jamila was talking, I was like, oh, my challenge came up. So the whole polyamorous thing, because it's still kind of new for me. And
Okay, her screen was frozen, so we're just gonna wait for her to come back. But while we're waiting, Nefertiti, I'd love to hear your thoughts on polyamory, if you have had any experience with it. I know you said you identify as queer, but if you've had any experience with it or any friends who are polyamorous, and just what your observation is and what your thoughts are on polyamory.
I guess I'm in a monogamous relationship. I'm a serial monogamo, so I tend to be in monogamous relationships for long periods of time, take a break, go on the next one. So but I have a lot of polyamorous friends, a few folks from the Bay Area who have started a lot of different, discussion groups and really thinking about being polyamorous consciously. And it's not just a free-for-all thing. It's actually a lot of planning and communication and all these great things. So I guess what I'm curious about is how this current moment and the quarantine has impacted, I guess, your polyamorous relationships.
Okay.
Because I think we can all, because I think it's definitely had an impact on the monogamous relationship. It's definitely had an impact on who's single. So welcome back, Renee. Jameelah asked me what I wanted to know about polyamory and polyamorous relationships since you had disappeared. So I'm
glad to know that it still works for you guys if my internet goes out. So if it goes out, y'all just continue. That's great. Awesome.
So Renee, you were actually saying something, and Nefertiti, I want to be able to make sure that we can bob and weave. So Renee, I know you were.
Yeah. Now that Renee came back, I think Renee should share, and then we'll go to the question.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So basically, I was just gonna say, in terms of the challenging moments, I did a couple of lives talking to a few people who are polyamorous, so that I can kind of learn a little bit more about that, because the universe has been presenting me with different polyamorous relationships for some reason, because I feel like I am monogamous, but that's kind of what I've been presented with lately. And this most recent one, I think with this coronavirus and everything that's going on, it's been a real challenge, like the communication. And I think that, I definitely want to hear from you, like, how does that work? How is that going? Because I feel like usually from my understanding, the most important thing in any relationship, really, but more so in a polyamorous, is the communication. Like, that has to be on point. And I feel like in terms of him, that's not necessarily happening. And I feel like I've been trying, but so that's my challenging moment.
Yeah.
So I would definitely love to hear about that, and just staying anchored and staying true to yourself, and as well as how do you when you're in a polyamorous relationship and you're giving more attention to one person and really kind of not giving enough to the other, to the others or other, then how does that work?
Yeah. So the first thing that I wanted to do is really just ask you, like, what is it that you actually want? Because I heard you say that you think of yourself as monogamous.
Yeah.
Then you also said that the universe presents you with these polyamorous relationships. So I'm curious as to, like, what it is that you actually want. Because I mean, if I want fish, but the universe keeps presenting me with chicken, I'm still not eating chicken. I don't eat chicken. So it's still I'll wait, and I just eat my kale and my spinach and and my rice until I get my fish. So the question that I have for you really is, what do you actually want?
That's really good. That's really good. Girl, I see how you're good at what you do. I like that. You good, girl.
Babe, real quick. Babe, say hi real quick. You You gotta come on the video.
Funny.
He's acting all exhausted because he was outside for like 5 minutes with the youngest 12-year-old throwing the ball back and forth. After I had been out there for 30 minutes, you know what I'm saying? Right. You know, you sweating, baby? You tired, baby? Come here. Come say hi to the ladies.
Hello. You gotta have on red lipstick. He needs to have on red lipstick.
Yes.
Hi.
This is Bay, and this is Pandara and Nefertiti. And say hi to YouTube because YouTube is watching. Say hi. YouTube.
Hi.
So I see people coming on. Once again, please introduce yourself, say hello, say something so we can know who's on here, who's watching us. Don't be shy. Just say hi. That's it. You don't have to say anything else if you don't want. Just say hi. So that's a good question, and I think and that's really important. Like just really knowing what you want. Mm-hmm. And I would say that I'm very open, and I don't think I've ever really been where I'm like, there's only one way. This is the only way. I feel like relationships are fluid, and so I've been mostly monogamous, but I have been in a polyamorous relationship. That worked really well. We lived together. He did have another partner, similar. He had me as a female and another male. Mm-hmm. And I think our communication was, was really good, and that made a difference. Mm-hmm. And so I definitely prefer having a monogamous, but I think that if I'm going to be in a polyamorous, then the communication needs to be important. I need to feel validated. Right. And I think it's important. Hey, Kev. Kev says hello.
Oh my gosh, Kev, hi. Kev, hi.
I love your energy.
So for those of you who are wondering why I just perked up for Kev and, Bay first, but then Kev as well, is because Kev is a whole entire influencer and provides women advice about relationships when it comes to men. So Kev is a friend of mine, and I'm really glad that he's on here so he can analyze us.
Oh yeah, it does. Kev Hick talks guys with girls. Let me tell you, Kev, we're gonna need you to come on here because we need to hear from you.
Look, I'm already setting things up. I'm already orchestrating. Okay, already.
All right. And then we got another Kevin Perdomo. I think that's what we got because I said Kev and a Kevin. He says I had to create a channel to comment, but I'm here. Thank you so much. We got two guys on.
I think but I think one is his commenting channel and one is his watching channel. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. So maybe so just him. But my bubble. I thought we had two guys on there, Kevin.
Sorry.
So so I think that's the key. I think the key, honestly, is the communication, being open and honest, and really just it's just communicating your truth and where you're at that moment,
Renee, I'm not sure if that's your background, but there's a lot of noise coming in. I don't know if that's the TV or something else, but there's a lot.
No, I don't have a TV or anything on here.
Okay.
I hear it as well. Does somebody have another app open on a computer?
Oh no, Nefertiti put hers on mute and it stopped, so it's good now. It's perfect.
Okay, so no, this is a different Kevin. Okay, so Kevin says no, this is the other Kev.
Oh, okay.
This is Kevin. Awesome.
Yeah.
Is that the Kevin that I met in Rio? I'm not sure. So Kev says, "What up, Kevy?" Oh, that's cool.
That's so cute. That's so cute.
Awesome.
Okay.
So, all right.
So, in response to what you were saying, I think that it's beautiful for women to be open, right? We like with women, I think that we've gone through pendulum swings. We learn to like write down all the things that we want, and then we create these lists of impossible people, and the next thing you know, you like, well, this person doesn't even really exist. And then after you realize that this is an extreme. You go to the other extreme where it's like, I'm super open, just send me, you know, whatever. And like, I'm open. I just want, you know, this feeling, this energy. And what is most important when it comes to just looking at relationships, not just polyamorous relationships, but relationships, is really identifying, like, if you could create your dream, what would you want? And if it is a monogamous relationship, then it is a monogamous relationship, you know. And it's okay to just say, you know, even though I'm receiving a lot of you know, chicken, I don't eat chicken. I just don't eat chicken. And it's the same thing with someone who is in a same-sex relationship, who identifies, you know, as a lesbian. My girlfriend she only dated women. So you could send her 1,000 men and she would still only be with women. So it's the same kind of concept. It's the same theory. And I think that what I observe is a pendulum swing between women who are so accepting that they accept, and I hate to say it like this, but almost the bottom rung. They accept this level of nothingness, you know, no effort. You know, one of the things that I learned recently from Kevin, he has a video that talks about like the effort that men put in. He's like, you know, he's very clear about, hey, like if he likes you, he's going to put in effort. You know, he's going to show up, he's going to do it. And you won't have to be sitting at home wondering, does he? Maybe, I don't know. Because if he's not calling, he's really not thinking about you. You know, if he's not showing up in that way, he's not, it's not on his membrane. It's not forefront of mind. So, you know, too often, I think I'm going to say with my sisters, because I feel like my sisters is the baddest in the game. Like it's perfection, you know, it's the Black woman. So, but too often with this level of perfection, it almost feels like it's hard to find a masculine match for that high level, to be with someone who is intuitive, trust their gut, is connected, is spiritual, you know, who when you look at them and talk to them, they can look back at you and hold high level, high quality conversation. It's not too much to ask for. It is not too much to ask for. But I will say, on top of all of that, I do believe that there is a gem in being with a bisexual man as well, like you mentioned in your last, you know, relationship or poly relationship, because there is a level of connectivity that tends to exist in that way that may not always exist in the reproduction of what we see in our current society. It's unfortunate, but you know, it's almost like this. It's almost like, you know, the standards have been set, you know, at this level. And so men have not been rising to meet there's no challenge anymore. It's just an acceptance, you know, he's only doing this and I'm just kind of going along with that. And I mean, even with me and my male partner, you know, I have to be aware of my own self so I can know how to say, babe, even though we've been together for over 10 years, I need this to be different. You know, at the beginning, it was like this. I was 25. You know, now I'm a grown ass woman. Things got to be different. They can't be the same like they were over 10 years ago. So, you know, part of women's responsibilities in the dating thing and the relationship thing where men are concerned is to really ask for what you want and expect it. I expect to have what I want. This is what I want. You tell him what you want. And if it's not being delivered, then it's what are we doing? Because it's not waste my time 2020. I'm not wasting my time 2020. So it has to be like that, because if you do know that you can have what you want because you are magical and you are all those things, then you have to say no to the things that you don't want. You know, and release that. And that's okay too. And know that something better, if not this, then something better is coming.
True.
Yeah.
True. Now, you want to say there's a Phil who came on. Thank you, Phil, for coming on the Bridge Point. We these three guys. I think these guys are like 3 beautiful
ladies got to say.
Yes, let's see who else is on here. I see more than 2 people on here. So we got 2 Kevins and a Phil. You know, come on. Are there any women out there? Is there another man out there? Let us know.
Someone on my Instagram. I don't know who's on my Instagram, but hey, Instagram. Y'all say hey to Instagram. Hey, Instagram.
So, Renee, is it chicken or fish?
Oh, I think she might have again.
I think it fell out too. Well, we can continue.
I'd love to hear your feedback, Nefertiti. I mean, what is the dynamic for you?
Well, no, I was just kind of listening to what you were saying, and I think what's at the root of everything is kind of giving yourself permission to dream about what it is you want if you're not in a situation that's desired. So I don't know how it was for you, for your family, for your mother, grandmothers, but in my family, my mother, grandmothers were never allowed to imagine their own desires and their own wants, let alone verbalize it, let alone in a relationship, let alone in sexual relationships. So I think directly and indirectly, I was taught that I had to always make other people feel better and always had to kind of be there to make sure people were having the best time. So and I'm not going to say that that's a woman's place or that's just how women are nurturers. I think that's what allows that kind of thinking to perpetuate.
Right.
But being raised that way, I think even though, because I'm 35 too, even though I'm 35, it's still taking this time to deconstruct that kind of sensation that's in the body that I can say what I want. And I don't have to feel bad about hurting somebody's feelings if they don't match what I'm looking for. I don't have to feel upset or bad that I'm in the situation that isn't what I imagined to be.
Right.
But to really understand that it's everyday work to try and practice putting yourself first. And that's what that's not easy. But I think that practice is what allows you to evolve with yourself and then in the relationships that you're in.
I love it.
To really be okay with what you're feeling and your sincerity, even though that can imply shifts of somebody leaving your life, and that's okay, or taking a break, and that's okay. So really being okay with, I think there's another thing around being alone, what that means, what that doesn't mean for certain ages. I think we're at a moment where we're also really deconstructing that, and there isn't so much pressure to sort of build this family life that we were told is what we should strive for. But I still feel like, that takes time, because how many generations before me, weren't allowed to even imagine that. So I feel like in this generation, we're doing a lot of work in terms of deconstructing that kind of thinking that's generations before us. So welcome back, Renee.
Thank you.
Hey.
I'm having internet difficulties. It's been like this all day. My 21-day breathing challenge had issues. So, yeah.
All good.
But I was hearing, and what I came in on, and it's some really good points. He's so adorable. Really good points.
This is Kyle. This is the baby.
The baby.
Hi, baby.
That as women, we were created to really put ourselves last and to take care of everyone else and do everything for everyone else. We were created to be the wife, the mother, and to do and do and do and not really think about ourselves. And so that's the biggest challenge that a lot of women I see face, being able to say what they want, say how they feel and not, you know, without being worried that they're going to lose this person or what's going to happen, or, you know, even just thinking about, not even thinking about themselves. And so that is really common. That's a lot of women go through that, you know.
Yeah, and with
I think,
oh,
no,
well,
go
with
ahead.
what Nefertiti was saying, I really appreciate it because Pranzara, you just said that women were created to do these things, and I would actually say that we've just been socialized to think that we're supposed to do these things.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
and
Yeah.
that's something that
No,
Nefertiti
I'm sorry.
was just
When I said created, I don't mean born. When I
okay.
said created, I meant like in terms of from our parents. Sometimes I speak from Portuguese to English and can't think in English. But that's exactly what I meant. We've been socialized, like we've been
raised.
raised, yeah,
Right.
not like born to do that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. Socialized to believe that that's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
And I appreciate Nefertiti talking about the distinction between the Nefertiti, you talking about the distinction between the generations before you and what you're doing now. And I'm actually it warms my heart to hear that, because one of the things that I'm very conscious about in my relationship is having a relationship, because 4 generations before me have died single women. You know, my mother, you know, single woman, and had, you know, she married, her and my father got married, divorced. That's the first and the last and the only. You know, my grandmother just passed in January and she died single, her mother. And so it's like, for me, it is an intentional stand of, you know, I am not, that's not what I'm modeling. I need the other coming after me, the lineage coming after me, to know that life partnership is very important. It's extremely important. And I don't want to fall into that intergenerational pattern of dismissing another half, you know, because there is a pattern, you know, and we see it from 4 generations back. But what I was going to ask Nefertiti is really what invited you to break free of the need to entertain and to maintain someone else's comfort, and to be that filler for someone externally, you know, when you've seen that modeled generations before you.
Well, I'm still working on it. I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. I think there was sort of like, you know, there's like intellectual studies. So in college, I got really into different kinds of movement work and things from a feminist framework that really broke down like how that kind of thinking just serves to oppress ourselves internally, and it teaches a way of being that does not see women as equal to, you know, women and trans folks as equal to men. So for me, it was more like a political decision. It was like, this is, you know, part of changing the ethics and morals that justify violence, that justify oppression, have to start with me. So if I'm, you know, if I'm trying to deconstruct the system, like that starts with me. And it also, realizing it from that perspective, it almost like it almost like was what justified it initially. But then as I, you know, gave myself more permission to be vocal about what it was that I desired and what I wanted, and freely spoke it, like it still took a long time to get over the guilt of what applied for other people and for other situations. So, I mean, moving to Brazil was a big moment of that. It was like me really needing to make that shift. And when I made that decision, it was really difficult because it implied ending a relationship, ending a job, ending, you know, an intense relationship with my mother. My father had passed away, and so she had come to depend on me emotionally in a really intense way. So it was like, okay, I'm going to say what I want and move forward with it, but it implies all these other things that generate guilt. How can I transform that? And how do I understand like this path that I'm taking as actually something that'll reverberate in a beautiful way to those people that I think I'm hurting? You know what I mean? So it's really trying to have faith in that forward vision, I think, to feel okay with it. But yeah, I still struggle with the guilt around, just making decisions that are for my benefit, 100%.
Right.
So yeah.
And I mean that's understandable. It's super common, and I in listening to you talk about guilt. So guilt is one of those things that I put on boxing gloves to get in the ring about and teach my students how to fight in my courses. There's no reason for you to be guilty. Like, it's supposed to be. If you want it, it's yours. If you think it's your thought. Like, it's not coming from an equal source. Like, it's all you. I don't know if okay, this might be TMI, but I don't know if anyone in the room has done any plant medicine.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Come on now, look at us. Of course we all have.
Yes. Okay, great.
Many kinds of plants.
Hello.
Frogs.
Yeah.
Hello. So my shaman really likes to administer Shanga, right? And Shanga is just such a beautiful plant. Both of my partners really love it. I love it, but I'm not like a super huge fan of it. I'm like, it's cool, great, blah, blah, blah. But recently, my oldest daughter, she decided to utilize Shanga. And when she did so, she had this experience that was like, wait, what happened? When someone's really retelling you an experience and you're like, wait, start over again. This doesn't make any sense. And the things that she was talking about, it was clear that her experience had an undertone of fear. There was, she was afraid during the experience. And what I thought to myself, after she kind of outlined, I was walking in this room and, I experienced this and I saw this and there was all this screaming. What I had to remind myself of and remind her of afterwards is, wow, this all came from inside of you. This is all inside of you. This is not you diving into someone else's movie or someone else's scene or picking up someone else's script. If you are comfortable with something, that's natural. That's your soul. That's all the juice from the inside. So, I appreciate you talking about it in such a practical way, because I believe that aside from all the lessons that we could teach as coaches and as leaders, if women holistically as a multitude could sharpen the sword on trusting their intuition and just knowing that if I intuit it, it's from the inside, it's perfect, point blank, period, then I believe that a lot of the guilt, shame, a lot of the things that we've been socialized to make negatives would just divine guidance. Like, oh, I'm just not supposed to do that. Or, oh, this is just what I'm supposed to say. So I can really appreciate you talking about those emotions that come up when you just say, hey, this is what I need to do for me. It's important. So it's coming from inside.
Yes. Yes, coming from inside. And I think coming from inside doesn't necessarily mean you're being irresponsible. Absolutely. I think you can act on what you're feeling intuitively, responsibly. And I think that's what being a grown-up is. Yes.
Not gonna work. Okay, so I am going to hop off of Instagram for the moment. Love you all. Bye.
That was amazing. I love that. I love that. I love everything I'm hearing. So beautiful conversation. Love this. And we have all guys on. So, guys, if anybody wants to comment anything from what you've heard, anything that you agree with everything, disagree with anything. So,
Jamila, I wanted to go back to the question that I was asking you when Renee cut out the first time. And Renee, I'll give you the 4-1 about how this moment of the pandemic, the quarantine, has impacted your relationships in general, right? You said you're a super mama. So what has that been like with your children, explaining this moment? How are they relating to that? But also your lovers. So both lovers, how has that been? Just thinking about time, space. Can you see each other? Can you not? I saw somewhere you can have sex, but you shouldn't be kissing.
you gotta do the doggy style.
Right. In the car. So when it comes to, okay, so to be honest with you all, and Renee knows this, so the pandemic hasn't really affected me in that head-on sort of way. And I say that because most of my work is done either from home or from co-working spaces. So like my regular day-to-day shuffle is like about the same. With the children, they're not really children. So he's the youngest, he's the baby, but the other ones are 18, 20, and 22. So they're big around anyway. So, really, and with Bay, oh, okay, I thought I had you plugged in. You're not. Okay. So my computer is like, hey, you might want to plug in your computer. So with Bay, give me 1 second because I don't want to cut out on you all.
Okay, so there isn't full-on quarantine in Georgia. My family's from California, and it's full-on quarantine. Nobody's going out.
I think California and New York has it the worst. So I don't think I even saw Georgia on the list for the states that had it so bad.
Yeah, I don't know what full-on quarantine means. Our restaurants are closed, entertainment spots, libraries, schools. Like, I don't know what full-on means, but there's curfew here. So I guess it is. I think that for me, when it comes to like the outside shifting, if I feel good here, like internally, then I'm good. So when it comes to the shifts with like my partners, it hasn't really shifted a lot, babe. Maybe I should ask him, like, how has it changed for him? Because he works IT.
Do you go and see your girlfriend as well? Like, does she come over?
Yeah, she comes here. I'll go over there. She comes here like regular, when she comes, she'll spend the night. Usually if I go over there, I'll spend the night. So it's pretty much the same in that way. Because of the quarantine, she hasn't been able to work. That may be something that affects her in the future. But in terms of the time that we spend together, I would say that if anything, there's just more time. Like she's accustomed to being at work in the daytime. So since she's not at work in the daytime, I'm still working. And so she's calling me like, hey, babe, what you doing? And I'm like, hold on, I got this meeting. She's texting me. So everything for me, because in 2014, I was like, I'm doing a virtual business. Everything for me just feels like business as usual. Client calls, workshops, it's the same. And then with him, he works IT. So a lot of his work, he can do it at home anyway. So a lot of times he spends time working from home. Yeah, I see them more. I see him more. He feels more like a coworker, I guess, these days. But it hasn't really shifted anything in terms of like the relationship itself. If that makes sense. So yeah, it's done a lot to shift just the energy around, and that energy is what I feel or I felt in the past more than anything else. Like, the fear, the panic, the pandemonium, you know, the, oh my God, I felt more of that. And that has affected my family in different ways. So there's a lot of that externally, but in terms of like our loving relationships, it hasn't really shifted a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it just makes us spend more time together.
So what do you think, why do you think that this pandemic has actually helped you to actually spend more time together and be close? Because, you know, when I put a post up about, you know, having sex with your partner, and I actually had someone send me a message, thank you for putting that post, because she didn't actually want to touch her husband. And I'm like, you know, not you know, I'm like, it's common. There's actually a lot of people who actually are married and there's just one and they don't want to touch them. You know, they're afraid of, you know, they're still going out or they have to work and I don't want to get this, you know. So what made it, what helped you in that sense for the three of you to be able to maintain your relationship as it is and not get into that fear and be like, okay, let me just be with my babe who's living with me and not have her coming in or me going to visit her? Like, what do you think help you maintain this relationship this way with everything that's going on outside?
So I'm, you know, you and I are two cut from the same cloth, just on opposite ends of the fabric. So you know, Virgo, Leo. So I'm all Virgo, Leo, and I feel like the answer that I would give to anything that I can still continue to walk through and still function in is really the foundation. You know, the foundations of the relationship are just literally being maintained. You know, nothing is changing. You know, when it comes to her, you know, her and I, we have this great connection, and she represents, like, she taps into the playful side of me a lot, and we do a lot of fun stuff together. You know, we started out spending a lot of time together, so as long as we can continue to keep that and keep that playfulness, things just go well. And with him and I, we started out really connecting in terms of intellect and compatibility. And so there's always time and opportunity to spar with him, you know, on a regular basis, because I mean, he's amazing. So, you know, I think the foundation that was established at the beginning of the relationship is one that is solid enough and strong enough to where it doesn't matter what the rest of the world is doing. It doesn't matter what's going on outside of us. You know, we're here. We're as long as we're here, we're good. So, you know, we were watching this crazy movie the other day. This movie was so bizarre. I wish I could unwatch it, right? You're like, what did I just watch? I don't like horror movies. I don't like thrillers. And someone recommended that I watch this stupid horror movie, and I watched it, and it was such a intense movie. You know,
what is it called?
I'm not gonna tell you. I didn't even say it in my mouth.
So why are you telling us about it?
You want to watch it? You can't.
Yeah, I want to watch it.
And plus, the 12-year-old is sitting here in this conversation too. So likely, if I said it out loud, he'd immediately go look it up. Right. And he's not his head. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. So I've been doing this for too long. So, anyways, I brought up the movie because there was a couple in this horror movie, and they had traveled, you know, across the world with friends, you know, to some, like, you know, communal land, you know, where everyone looked the same and talked the same and sang the same, and it was really creepy and eerie, and you're like, what's going on? And the whole time they were there, the people were like smiling at them and so happy and so nice and so gracious, but just tearing them apart. Huh?
Yeah, I saw the movie. I know what you're talking about.
The movie is horrible. So they were just tearing people apart. And so at some point
I think
in the
get
movie,
out.
at some point in the movie, it just got so gruesome. But the reason it was so gruesome was because they drove a wedge between this couple.
Yeah.
Just the people in the community drove a wedge so deep with this couple that he was prey and she was now prey, you know? And the thing about it is, like, when it comes to coupledom, I firmly believe that a relationship is one of the strongest orbits. It's like atom, together, compound. This is now a compound. From this compound, we create a molecule. Like, this is now togetherness. We can weave in and be as together as we want to be. And that in and of itself is so powerful, right? So when someone can come and drive a wedge in between that, what it does is it leaves both of these atoms vulnerable. You know, it puts them in a position to be attacked on foreign land. And so all the things that we saw that came in their demise was really as a result of driving a wedge and separating these two people from each other. And I was talking to Bay about it, and I'm like, if they had to just stay together, that would have never happened. It would have never happened if they were able to stay together. So, you know, in the midst of all the chaos, in the midst of all the things that are breaking out and taking place all over the world, the most powerful thing that I believe in is still love. And it's still my ability to stay in partnership, to stay in relationship, whether it be with my girlfriend, whether it be with my husband, and whether it be with my friendships or even with my children. To have that connectedness is, I feel like, the biggest medicine. It's the most powerful shield that you can have, you know, in the midst of everything that takes place outside.
Let me ask you, do you ever have moments where you're feeling asexual, Jameelah?
I do. As a matter of fact, I thought I was asexual for a long time because, you know, I'd be like, hey, maybe not. Like, I don't know. You know, it's not a big deal. Yeah, there was a long period of time, I think in my 30s, where I kind of was feeling asexual, primarily because I hadn't identified sapiosexualism yet, and really what that meant to me and in my life. I'm very grateful that this man that I've been with since I was in my 20s is aware enough of the women that he chose to be partnered with for life to be able to bob and weave, and, you know, because me on some other stuff sometimes I'd be like, hey, I don't know, maybe, you know, or maybe not. And he is down for Bay. So even when I was figuring out like what this means, like this is a new term, what does that mean? That do I identify with that? Okay, sometimes I do. But let's dive even further and figure out what that is. So I think there's some elements. If I did a test, I'd probably be like 2% asexual now.
So I'm interested. I'm curious. So when you entered into this relationship with your husband, did you guys talk about, okay, I'm polyamorous, or did this kind of develop within your relationship over time? In the beginning, was it just like, okay, the two of you are monogamous, and then you're like, yeah.
So at the beginning, it was just him and I, and we were in monogamous relationship. He'd known that before. I had engaged in other relationships with other people, so it was not, you know, brand new. It wasn't anything that was like, oh my God, this is totally new and I don't even know what this means. So there was some awareness, but there wasn't enough awareness of what that would look like in my life for me to go in with a blueprint. Right? There wasn't like a clear route to this. There wasn't like a clear, like, okay, so after 3 years or after 5 years, and even when Nefertiti talked about being monogamous, like if you had to ask me when I was a little girl, when I was a teenager, I'd have probably told you like I'm the most monogamous person that you know, only because I had literally gone from monogamous relationships to monogamous relationship. Like it was the thing, right? And around the age of 30, I had to really just stop and say, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? Like, what's most important to me? when I see my life at 50, at 60, at 80, and then go take a shower too, because you need to wash that pollen off. At 100, you know, what is it that I want to have? And the more I asked myself that question, the more I could see the vision of what my life would look like in the future. And it included, you know, as a bisexual woman, it included both male and female partnership. So it was a lot of transition in terms of getting to a place where I could really create that and create the level of the relationship that I wanted, to make sure that it had, that both sides felt equal to me, that both sides, like, it wasn't like there's a hierarchy to me. There was no, you know, I'm going to spend all this with this person and that with that, or I'm not going to talk about this. There's none of that. You know, my parents are aware, you know, my brother's good friends with my girlfriend. Like, there's, the kids are like, this is Mom E. Like, there's a whole, this is a family affair. That's important to me, because I had already identified some of those dynamics of gender equality, or just inequality with relationships, period. I was dating in a poly situation before my husband. You know, there were husbands who had wives, but who would only be allowed to date women and not men. And there was just a lot of different structures that didn't seem free or liberated at all. It was like, we're just moving from one really oppressive structure that doesn't work to another one that only benefits one person. So, so it took a while to really navigate and bob and weave through it. But having had previous experience, and been exposed to communities of people who this was their norm. This is the normal. This is not abnormal. There are people who have 4 partners. And it's so funny when people are asking me questions about my poly life. I'm like, I could introduce you to a woman who has like 4 partners. And she has a husband, and then she has 3 girlfriends. And I swear, it's so crazy to me. I went to a nudist resort, and when I went, you know, I went with some friends, and she was there, and I swear, y'all, this lady hit on me, and I was like, sis, bag, okay, because
I ain't gonna be number 5. I don't want to be number 5.
She's like, hey, do you want to dance with me? I'm like, sure, sis, let's dance. So we go out and we dance, right? And it's this like really honky-tonky song. And she whispers in my ear, literally, y'all, whispers in my ear. She said, this is the song that my mom and dad danced to 40 years ago. And they're still married till this day.
That's some weak game. I'm sorry.
You ain't even gonna give me the real game. You gonna try to run game on me like that?
Right?
She don't know I'm the goddess queen. She didn't know. She didn't know. I really know who I am. I was like, all right, sis.
Okay.
I ain't gonna rain on your parade. Thank you for the dance, but no thanks. Okay. So
That's funny.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, are your companions also poly? Do they have other relationships?
Now, and my girlfriend just walked in the door, so I'm gonna make her come and say hey real quick. She walking around looking like a slave. Come on, baby.
You look like Janet Jackson.
I know I look like Janet. That was the look I was going for with my red lips today. Come down and say hi. Come down. And she really likes being on camera. Say hi.
Hi.
You wasn't prepared.
Hi,
this is
bye.
Prandara. And this is Nefertiti.
Hey, Prandara.
Get in the camera.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And
Nefertiti.
And this
Hi, nice to meet you.
Erica. This is Bay.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, May.
Okay, let me finish my meeting or whatever.
Yeah. We got a minute.
So okay, so as everything, this was really great. We definitely have to come back on for round two because I still have so many more questions, and I think we could go for 2 hours, but people are gonna be like, no, I don't think people can last for 2 hours, but I got man, this is good.
My dad said I have so many questions. No, and I appreciate this because I'm actually writing a book. I'm almost finished with my first book, y'all. Oh my God, it's taking forever, but I'm almost finished with my book. Yeah, the first book is about the self-love journey, because even before I could really enter into the relationship fully, I had to, any relationship, like people are always like, hey, sis, how do you do that? Like, how do you get 2 days, 3? Like, I'm trying to live my life like you. And I'm like, but first of all, how you feel about you? Mm-hmm. Have you dated you? Have you put as much work into you as you trying to put into somebody else? Because the way my life is set up, I'm an evolving goddess. So that means that every time I level up, these people got to level up too. So you have to really know yourself well enough to know that, hey, I might need to do some more work on me before I start really engaging with someone else. I'm on the brink of depression. I'm on the brink of this, or I'm dealing with anxiety. Okay, maybe now is not a good time. So, I have almost finished the book, and the book is really about your self-love journey and really discovering yourself, because my questions are always intrinsic. What's going on with you? Before you tell me this is what I got going on outside of me, tell me what's going on within you, because that's all I care about. That's all I care about, what's inside. And if that part needs some extra work, let's do that part, because as soon as you engage with someone, whether they're a perfect match or not, if things are crumbling within you, there's nothing that person can do to help you or to assist you, because it's all the brokenness is coming from inside and it's spilling out over into the relationship anyways. Yeah. But I am I'll be done with that book by August. Discover You, A Self-Love Journey.
Nice.
That I am going to be working on after that, and I've already started creating my little damn outline. It's on the polyamorous relationship, because I get tired of people asking me like these basic questions. Like, these questions are like 101. It's 101. Like, before you ask me one more question, let me refer you to this book, because it's going to have all the questions answered and more. And it's not because I have a problem with people asking me any questions. I'm perfectly fine with answering them. But I do have to make sure that I put emphasis on the fact that I do not condone spending more time looking for a relationship outside of yourself than establishing a firm foundation for yourself. I'm not going to do that. The day somebody comes to me and says, I'm broken. And can you tell me how to have a relationship? I'm going to redirect them and say, hey, no. Start with the self-love journey, because you need a solid foundation before you start trying to dive into somebody else's stuff. So I appreciate all the questions, all the things that you're curious about, because I am definitely going to be including them in the outline.
Yes. I'm going to have to get that book. So Jamila, can you share your information? Like, how can people find you? What, you have a YouTube channel? What's your YouTube channel? What's your Instagram, your Facebook?
Sure. Okay. So, and I don't know if I can type in this thing, but please, Renee, if you get an opportunity, drop that scary ass movie title in the damn thing, because I can't.
I think it was wrong. So it sounded like Get Out, but
no,
it wasn't Get Out.
No,
it wasn't. Yeah.
No. The movie. How can I type in this? The movie.
Go ahead and I'll put it up on the screen.
You said go ahead and type it?
No, I'll type it. So what's your Facebook?
Oh, okay. So my Facebook is at facebook.com, and then you put in Free the Divine Feminine. And Divine Feminine.
Divine. Oh, I think I spelled that wrong. Divine Feminine. Mm-hmm.
And my Instagram, so I'm most active on Instagram. My Instagram is The Growth Goddess. You just put in The Growth Goddess, and then I pop right on up.
Okay, and your YouTube?
And my YouTube is Free the Feminine.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and Nefertiti, how can people find you again? This is
Okay, everybody.
Oh no!
Right now,
I was trying to have it pop up, but my internet.
it came up.
It came up.
Facebook
yeah,
I want to put it on the screen.
Yeah, it showed up. So it's my name, Nefertiti. Nefertiti Charlene is Facebook, and Nefertiti_Charlene is my Instagram. But I have to tell you all that my relationship with Instagram right now, I kind of ended it last month. So I'm having I'm like seeing if I want to get back in that relationship again. That's like a whole nother discussion on YouTube, but it's there, it exists, but I haven't been active because I'm really thinking about online presence, how I want to access that, and all these things. So yes, but Facebook, I'm on there a little bit more or less, and I'm building my website. So hopefully the next Red Lipstick Talk, I'll be able to share that with folks.
All right, so guys, if you want to connect with Jameelah, you can connect with Jameelah at Free the Divine Feminine on Facebook. I hope I spelled that correctly.
You did.
Good. And Instagram, The Growth Goddess, or YouTube, Free the Feminine. So I'm going to have to go onto your YouTube and subscribe. I hope you subscribe to mine. And
there's
so
like 6 people on my YouTube. So shout out to y'all 6. Thank you for holding me down.
Kev, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please hit me up. Send me a message on Facebook, Kev, or Instagram, because I would really love to have you on here. What do you think, Nefertiti? Do you want to have? Should we have Kev on here? Kev, only
Kev, yeah, that's my Kev. You can't just be taking my Kev like that.
We want to get to know him too and ask him some questions too.
No, for real.
Okay, so Kev, we gonna put your blood. What did you say right here?
Did you see his comment?
Oh no, that's my Kevin. That's not your Kev. But okay, sorry. I appreciate it. Let me hide that just in case he didn't want to show that. Okay, all I can say is my hand hurts from taking notes and snapping my fingers.
Yes.
Thank you. And Kev says, great talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Kev.
And Phil, are you still around? You got something to say? Anybody else got something to say? Because there's more than just 2 people on right now. So if you guys want to say anything, please do share. Also, Nefertiti, if you want to find Nefertiti Charlene on Facebook. She's kind of not sure what was going on with her Instagram relationship. So I think like
I'm better with people than Instagram.
Facebook. And y'all could always reach me at Renee Adolfi on Instagram, Facebook, Prandata Prim. And I guess we could, huh? This has been a great talk.
And I want to throw in the hat. Like, I'd love to hear about being expats in Brazil and dating while in Brazil.
Girl.
Yeah.
Girl. Yeah. That's gonna be another
episode.
Look, let me tell you, we got some stories. We got some stories. We could write a book.
I can imagine. I can only imagine.
I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. In Salvador, you can have sex every day if you wanted to with a different guy or girl if you wanted to, or both. I don't know if Nefertiti could say the same thing. I could definitely say that. I'm not saying that that's happening.
Yeah. You could. It's the availability of,
But that's a myth on a lot of levels. That's racialized.
No.
And the next talk, we can break that down.
Let me tell you, there was a point where, like, I'm serious. Like, every day, I would have guys coming up, hitting on me, like, can we go to the room? And I was just like, this could really happen every day with a different person if I chose to.
But Renee, what I've
that's
noticed is that has a lot to do with the economy and the political context.
Wait a
It
minute.
really
Wait a minute.
impacts.
Wait a minute. We're ending.
Yeah, we're ending.
Tune in next time.
We're probably be on another whole
All right.
hour.
And on the next episode of Red Lipstick Talk.
Yes.
Red Lipstick Talk.
Yes.
Yeah. We're gonna have to get into that because I'm very interested to hear about that.
We will. Be safe, everybody. Use alcohol. Disinfect your groceries. The pandemic is real. It's serious. Take care of your loved ones and be safe, please. Masturbate at home. Don't go out.
Keep your ass home unless you go to your partner's house. But keep your ass home. Don't go out when you don't go.
Thank you.
Right. So
Bye,
we'll see you guys next Friday at 7 p.m. EST, 6 p.m. CST, and I don't know what time that is in PST. But anyway, we'll see you at 7 p.m. EST next Friday. Oh, 5. Okay, you know, from California. Love you guys.
Bye.
Take care of yourself.